is a messenger from the past. The Alps seem impenetrable from the air, but for millennia, shepherds and traders have hiked their mountain passes. Today's trekkers are mostly tourists. Every year, millions enjoy the alpine splendors of southern Austria. In the fall of 1991, unusual weather turned snow to slush. On September 19th, a couple of hikers stray from a marked trail, hoping to find a shortcut. Instead, in a melting glacier at more than 10,000 feet, they spot something that stops them in their tracks. Four days later, delayed by bad weather, an Austrian forensic team arrives. This is not an uncommon sight in the Alps. The frozen bodies of mountaineers are sometimes found decades after they perish among the peaks. But this body is so deeply icebound, the team borrows an ice axe and ski pole from a passing hiker. Somewhat puzzling are the scraps of leather pulled from the slush around the body, not to mention the strange artifacts. Team members conclude this body has been frozen a very long time. They turn it over to experts at the University of Innsbruck. Still wearing a strange shoe stuffed with grass, it's the body of a 25 to 40-year-old man, shriveled but virtually intact. Teeth show heavy wear. Simple blue tattoos adorn his lower back and legs. 70 objects were found near his body. A quiver of animal skin containing 14 arrows. A leather waist pouch, not unlike a fanny pack. Bits of leather and grass rope. A flint dagger. Most telling, an axe with an exquisite copper blade. To archaeologists, the design of the blade suggests its owner may have died 4,000 years ago. It was not the final word. Skin, bone, and grass samples are sent to 4 eminent European laboratories for radiocarbon dating. All 4 conclude the Iceman died about 5,300 years ago, which makes him the oldest frozen mummy ever found. Almost immediately, word gets out. The University of Innsbruck is overrun, and a humble man from the Copper Age becomes an overnight sensation. Who was he? How did he die? We may never know. But his body and artifacts have begun to yield glimpses of a lifestyle practiced more than 5,000 years ago. X-rays speak of lifelong physical stress, broken ribs, heavily worn joints, arthritis. In his left foot, signs of frostbite, like that seen in high-altitude climbers today.
Also, es wäre eine der möglichen Erklärungen.
With an endoscope, scientists remove a sample from the Iceman's stomach and found remnants of meat and grain, his last meal. His lungs made a startling sight, blackened by hours spent near open fires in close, smoky quarters. Found frozen in the snow near his body, a slowberry also helped pinpoint the season of his death. The fruit ripens in early autumn. Tatters of his clothing held hairs that fell from the Iceman's head after death. Chemical analysis would show the hair was heavily coated with copper particles, the kind that are airborne near the smelting of copper ore. Not an unusual finding, if the Iceman was a coppersmith or an assistant to one.
Sieht man einmal auch
Finally, every last inch of the Iceman's body became digital information in a three-dimensional CAT scan. This virtual Iceman allows for unlimited study without risking the fragile frozen remains. It also provides a ghostly foundation for a skilled artist as he resurrects a traveler from a distant time. Something drives him to the heights, trade or duty. He may be a renegade on the run. He knows the mountains well, but fails to heed the warning signs. Perhaps he has no choice but to press on. He climbs higher than the trees, beyond hope of any kindling to build a fire against the terrible cold. In the lee of a rocky ridge, he'll lay down his belongings and wait out the night. He knows that with sleep comes certain death, but his senses are already numbed. His lonely death deprived him of funeral rites by his people. But this everyday man, frozen in time on his way somewhere, has helped write a new chapter on daily life in prehistoric Europe. Home to some 3,000 people, the town of Cheddar is known not just for its namesake cheese, but for a series of spectacular caves sculpted by an underground river. Some 9,000 years ago, Ice Age hunters camped here and left one of their dead in the damp darkness. Today, a replica of Cheddar Man marks the spot. He lived before the age of farming when bears and wolves roamed the land. The oldest complete skeleton found in England. It seems Cheddar Man died of head injuries around age 40.